Welcome to the Relationship Series podcast. My name is Ankush Jain, and each episode I'll be speaking to a different state of mind expert on the subject of relationships. Enjoy. Welcome to episode 44 of the Relationship Series. This episode, I'm pleased to be joined by Denise Holland. Denise is a high-performance coach. She's the Director of Class Performance at Excellence Within, and she's a former national coach for Scotland in her field and her sport, which is netball. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Ankush. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Great to have you with us on the show. We've had one other person on the show who's come from a sports background, and that was Garrett Kramer, about 2 years ago. So it's great to have you on the show. And I don't know what we're going to be talking about. We've got some idea, but I know that especially in something like a team sport, relationship is so important. And I know that you've got a lot of expertise in that area. So I'm very glad to be talking with you today.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's great to be here. Great to be here.
Denise, for people who don't know you, they've never heard about you, and this is kind of where I typically start off my interviews. Tell us about how, what was your journey? Have you always been a state of mind coach? Did you get into sports coaching first and then kind of get more into state of mind? What's your journey been about?
Yeah, I mean, my journey started out as a player, as an athlete. I played for county netball, and quite a late developer, I would say. I played for county when I was sort of 18, and that would have been considered late. And I was really chuffed to be in county, and it was a great honour. And then I went to overseas and started thinking, well, what's next? What else can I achieve? And I always had this kind of mantra about myself, about I must try to be the best I can be. And so when I look back, I see that that's where the striving started, really. I competed in the 1991 World Championships for Hong Kong, and the Asian Championships. And then after that, I was really like, yeah, well, okay, that's that done. So now what's next? And I was never satisfied. I was never fulfilled by what it is that I'd just accomplished. And so I even switched positions at the end of the court, and I went on to learn how to shoot. I thought, right, okay, I can do that. And so by the time the 1995 World Championships came, I played for Hong Kong, and I switched positions and became a shooter. And in actual fact, it was in Birmingham, back in the UK. And I can remember, 200, 300 shots a day, and really, really striving to achieve this 90% target to be a world-class shooter. And I performed at the championship, and I was really average. I was really average, and I really suffered. And so, after that, I came back to England and started my journey as a coach as opposed to a player, because I'd retired by then. I thought, well, I'll conquer this. There was something here I didn't get as a player. I'll conquer this as a coach. And funnily, that's when it all started all over again. So what's the best coach I can be? And my thing has always been not to try to be the best there is out there, but the pressure that I put on myself to be the best I could be. And so I started out on this journey. I was a Super League coach for 7 years for the Hurricanes, Brunel Hurricanes. And it was always, we were always there or thereabouts, but we didn't really ever conquer and get silverware. So I kind of took that personally and thought, right, well, there's something else I need to know. There's more to it than that. And so I would have this no stone unturned approach, this striving for marginal gains the whole time. And the job came up in Scotland to be a national coach, and right, that's it. I will go and do that. That will make me feel whole and complete as a coach and as a person. I will go and do that, and I will do it to the best of my ability. And you know, I had a great time there, Ankush, and I did 4.5 years of a 6-year agreement to go to the Commonwealth Games, and we competed for 46 internationals. We went from 17th to 12th in the world in 4.5 years, and we did really, really well. But still, there was something I wasn't really understanding about the athletes, and I just started to touch on it when we were in Samoa at the Pacific Series, and the game was going to turn out to be a Commonwealth Games qualifier. And we were about to either get a pink ticket for being host, Scotland and Glasgow, or we were going to qualify in our own right. And I got a sense of, well, which of these shooters can put the ball in the basket, irrespective of their thinking? And normally I would be saying something like, well, which of these shooters can put the ball in the basket under pressure? And there was this difference, and it fascinated me. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. What's this about? Anyway, to move forward, in a couple of months down the line, I found myself not going to the Commonwealth Games. So my journey to try to take the Scottish Thistles to be a top 8 team at the Commonwealth Games was cut short. And you can imagine this, for somebody who was a high achiever, who was absolutely committed, dedicated, perseverance, you know, everything I could throw at it. I even left my family down in England, in Kent, half the week, and I travelled to Scotland every single week. I did 65-hour weeks for 4.5 years. And, I'm not saying that to sort of pump me and plump my feathers. I just want to give you and the listeners an idea of where I was, my state of mind at the time. And I felt as if I was healthy, and I felt as if this is a requirement of being in this role. This is what's required of people when they commit to these endeavors. And so to not be in the position anymore was really devastating for me. And that was the start of this incredible new journey in my life. I really suffered physically. Mentally, I went into a kind of a really low state, really depressed, really frustrated. I was angry. I was confused about what had happened, and how I was 1 minute, everything was on target and I was going, and everything was in place to produce this performance. And then the next minute, I wasn't going to be doing that. And professionally, I can't go into that, obviously, but I find myself now in a really low state. So what happened is I came across Michael Neal and Jamie Smart's books. In fact, I was driving home and I came across Jamie's first. And that was my first introduction to, well, hang on a minute, there's something else here. There is the possibility of understanding what it is we experience and how it is we experience it as human beings. And it really resonated with me because it took me back to Samoa, when I was starting to get a feel for, well, yeah, we can perform in life. Irrespective of our thinking, we don't need to take it seriously. It does come and go. And that really started to resonate with me. And I had some amazing realizations. And the state of mind that I was in, suddenly, Ankush, I had this kind of epiphany type moment of, oh my word, am I really just making this all up? This whole feeling that I have, is it really and truly not coming from the fact that I'm not going to the Commonwealth Games anymore? Or am I creating this myself through this power of thought to create experience? And I was shocked. I was really, really shocked. I cried, I laughed, I cried. I couldn't believe that everything that I thought was real and compelling and significant in my life was just actually being brought to life because we can. Because we can bring our thoughts into being. It kicks in our entire sensory system through consciousness, and we feel that. And I had no idea that that was going on at all. I thought I was my thinking. As a human being, I didn't see the distinction. I didn't get any distance or space between what it is I was thinking and who and what I am as a human being. And in that moment, I started to see, oh my word, there is a design here. There is a physical design here, and there is a mental design here, for want of a better word, of how it is we come to feel what we feel, and how it is we come to believe what we believe and want what we want in life. And it changed everything for me. It changed everything. My relationships with my family. It changed my perspective. It made me incredibly relieved that I didn't have to wait 18 months to the Commonwealth Games and wish every single day they were gone. I actually went to the Commonwealth Games and it was fantastic. I had nothing but love and compassion for the new coaching team. I even took my entire team, management team with me, and we just supported as hard as we could the Scottish Thistles. And we came from a place of love and compassion. And that would not have been available to me had I not got a glimpse of this understanding of how the mind works to create our human experience.
Thanks for sharing that, Denise, and being so open about, what's happened recently with you and bringing you to this place. Could you tell us a little bit more about what shifted from there? You mentioned that so many things changed for you, including your relationship with your family. And I know that's something that we spoke about before, because you were away from home a lot of the time. And whilst it sounds great that reading those books and being introduced to a deeper understanding of how our mind works helped you get over what was, I guess, a disappointing situation, I'm guessing there was a lot more in terms of what shifted for you than I'm not belittling that than just that, but I'm guessing that was just probably the start of what occurred for you.
Yeah, I mean, the start was that I could see I was creating my experience from the inside out. Like the situation wasn't causing me to feel like this. Like I could see that I have this capacity as a human being to have any experience about the same things that happen on the outside. And the one thing that really changed really quickly, I suppose, is my relationship with my children. Because I really thought that my kids had the capacity to annoy me. Like, it does seem very real when you come home and they haven't done the chores and they said they were going to. it does seem very real to me when my son is gaming, and I'm having thoughts around the fact that he should be doing something more productive in his life. And I will be getting annoyed by that. And then I saw it. Oh my gosh, it's the same. It's the same thing, Denise. My son and the kids not doing the chores has no capacity to make me feel anything. There are no feeling bullets that come out of the dishes that go whack, Denise. This is really annoying. Okay. And when I see him gaming, there are no feeling bullets that come out and say, yeah, this is irritating. My experience about those things is coming from me, because that's the way it works. We can bring to life any thoughts we like. And, I'll give you an example, Ankush. I came home one day and the chores weren't done. And I just saw that as really irritating. And then another day I came home and the chores weren't done. And I don't know, I just saw that as, well, they must have been really busy today. A completely different state of mind. And that was fascinating to me, because I saw that I can have a different experience of the same thing. And when I really started to see that, it just helps me to catch myself that, hang on a minute, Denise, this is not, your experience here is not coming from the chores, it's coming from you. And when I catch myself, that allows me to keep a quieter mind about it. It allows me some clarity. And there have been times at dinner where nobody's spoken to each other, everybody's been cross with each other, it's ruined the entire evening. And then there have been other times where I've caught it, and at dinner, and not like I haven't said anything, and then I've just gone, okay, this is coming from you. You just need to just take stock here. And then at dinner, I would mention it calmly and quietly. Well, guys, what about these chores? And then it would be, oh yeah, Mum, my bad. Really, I'm on to that tomorrow. And the outcome is light years away from each other, simply because I managed to catch my experience happening in real time and not respond from a low state of mind, not respond from an understanding of that's causing me this, the chores are causing me this. No, they're not. And I know in this work we call that outside in, whereas I caught it that, hang on a minute, I can have any experience I like of the fact that the chores are not done. And then I can have a higher state of mind, a higher level of consciousness, a more productive thinking going on. And my behavior from there is going to be so much more effective. And at dinner, we get to talk to each other in a really nice way. We enjoy our evening, and the next day, you know what? The chores are done, no problem. And that's just one simple example around nurturing that relationship with my children, knowing that they do not have the capacity to cause me to feel anything, even though it looks like that, even though it feels like that.
I bet a lot of parents, and I'm not a parent myself, but I bet a lot of parents can relate to that, and maybe if they've got teenagers especially, of children not doing, what they say they're going to do. And I'm just trying to think about what a parent might say to that, and a parent might be sitting there listening and going, Denise, that'll work for your kids, but it won't work for mine. And if I don't nag them, if I don't really have a go at them, then there's that fear potentially that, you know, they're just going to go off the rails. What would you say to someone like that?
I would say, yeah, me too. Because I have had those fears, and I still have those fears. And it's something that I am on a learning curve about, Ankush, because one of the things I've seen, and it's really helped me, is that when I'm trying to impose my personal belief systems onto my children, because I think they should be behaving in a particular way, that always doesn't end well. And it's fear, isn't it? It's insecurity. And we think that we know best for our children. We think that we know how it is they should be in the world, what they should strive for, what they should aim for. We even have thoughts around what they should believe in and what their values should be. But that's where difference comes into play for me. We are different expressions. We are expressions of this divine energy of life. And for me, each one of us, we can see, is a perfect and whole human being. And they're going to get their thoughts, and I'm going to get my thoughts. And when I saw that they have everything they need already to lead a high performance and fulfilling life. They have wisdom, they have instinct, they have intuition. They are designed perfectly as a human being, as we all are. There is an intelligence behind the design of the human being. You know, when we look at the physical form and we see all of our body makeup and our organs, it's all working perfectly. And psychologically, it's the same. We get caught up, and then we're not caught up anymore. We have moods, and then we don't have a mood anymore, because it is designed to clear. The mind is designed to clear out. And when it does, we get fresh new thinking. We get wisdom around what it is we should be doing. And our kids are no different. In fact, the more I work with youth, Ankush, the more I see they are so more connected to their intuitive mind. And it's only us as parents that get insecure, that we think we need, in our role as parent, all important role as parent, we think we need to, we know better, right? Because we've been in the world for longer. Well, actually, no. We have been in the world longer, but you know what? We've got all these ideas and all these beliefs and all these preferences. And you know what? For me, that's a whole bunch of contamination in some respect. And young people just instinctively know what's good for them, what's right for them. And if they do fall into low states of mind, like that they don't do things that they should be doing, like their chores or their gaming, if we go in and we are, and this is certainly for me, I see this happening in parents quite a lot, is if we go in and impose, then we're just going to have a head-to-head. We're going to clash, and nothing is going to get done. Whereas if we go in and we're coming from our understanding and our heart, then they'll feel that. They'll feel that we are looking to connect with them. and that we understand them, we understand what they're going through. And then there's that rapport and that connection. And in that, that's where the real juices happen. That's the same in any relationship, whether it's your children, your partner, in your business relationship, in your sport. Real understanding between two human beings, for me, comes with a real connection and rapport and respect for who it is and what it is we're going through. Yeah, I was rattling a bit there. I don't know. Yeah.
As you were talking, Denise, I was thinking that there probably isn't anyone who's listening to this that doesn't recall at least one moment when they were younger disagreeing with their parents, or maybe even not when they're younger, maybe even now having a different point of view to their parents, and their parents still thinking they know best, and the person listening to this thinking, well, actually I see things in a different way. And as you were talking about, young people knowing what's best for them, I was thinking, well, I know some young people who do some pretty stupid things, and I probably did some stupid things when I was younger, and did I really know what was best for me? But I think what you pointed to was approaching someone with a viewpoint or a mindset of I know best, even if you're right, is going to lead to a clash. And I what I heard you say was, actually, if we can not get caught up in our own heads, and especially, like, from what I hear you say, as parents and maybe as older siblings as well, or just family dealing with younger people, that coming from that place of genuine caring for the person is what's going to get through to them. Is that, am I hearing right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, that's lovely, Ankush, and absolutely, they can feel it when you genuinely and authentically are just caring about them, as opposed to instructing them, because they're going to be defensive. We do when young people's freedom to express themselves is taken away, then defense mode is the next seems to be the next thing, because we're creative human beings, and suddenly when other people are thwarting that capacity to be creative and to decide for us what's best for us, and if the passion inside the youth is so strong, they are not going to hear that. They're not going to hear that. And we have to ask ourselves, well, maybe they have to just find out for themselves. And yeah, I see that as parents, we want to keep our children safe. Of course we do. But can we control the thoughts they get in their head? No, we can't. But we can help them to understand that that's all it is. That's all it is. And they'll see their experiences as real and compelling, and if we can help them to just see the role of the mind and how that's working in them, then they have every opportunity to not be scared of what's going on in their mind. And that's been the difference for me in parenting, is I can be hands off. I can see when it's me in there, Denise Holland, whoever that is. I can see my ego mind in there, my preferences. And when I do, I go, eek. And I pull back, and I just have so much more respect for the fact they have everything they need already, and all I need to do is love them. That's all you can ever do, is love them. Even if they're lashing out, you know, it's the hardest thing, but that's all we can do, because they're just having a state of mind issue. They're having a mood issue. They're having a conscious level state issue. Underneath all of that, they are perfect and whole and totally mentally healthy. They're just lost. And if we're going to help them regain that connection to their true self, their true essence, their true nature, then as we love them, they feel it.
So what's your relationship with your kids now? You know, we've kind of heard you talk about a particular issue with your chores, but practically speaking, what's it like now? How do you get on with your kids now?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm watching them thrive. I'm also now able to watch them make their mistakes too. All right. And when I say mistakes, that's just my perspective. And I'm creating that perspective. There could be better ways in which they do things, in my view, but that's just my view. And so I'm more happy and relaxed to let them just find out for themselves. And in doing that, they seem to be so much more receptive to chatting about things. They're very cuddly. They're very cuddly, very loving. They seem to be very close to me, and physically as well as sort of metaphorically. They're kind of, you know, they're there, but they're also very able now to go and to experiment and explore life. And I was so overprotective of them, and that just got in the way of their expression. And I think they're really, they're really happy that I've been able to just, you know, let out the the lead. And actually now, you know, they're 21 coming up and 23, and yeah, it's taken me a long time to do that. And most 21 and 23-year-olds probably would be off now, and mine are, my children are just going kind of off now and starting to explore the world by themselves. And it's lovely. It's a lovely change. And I don't know that I would have got there. I think there would have been far more difficult conversations to be had if I hadn't looked in this direction. And when my son turns around to me, Ankush, and says to me, "Mum, you are so in your head," when I'm just about to give him what for, it just makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. And and I just catch it straight away. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, got that. Okay, I'll be back. And I just kind of just go away and then come back to the conversation if there's something that I think is really needing to be discussed, at least. And it's lovely to be able to take that from your kids, because they're equally as wise. Because wise is not a chronological thing. We have wisdom from the moment we're born. It's not something we get over time. So our youth are as wise as us always. And I don't know that we really respect that.
I'm going to kind of move the conversation a little bit. And we spoke the other day, and you were talking about how one of the other relationships that's changed in your life has been your relationship with your ex-husband. And we were just talking about wisdom and your kids being as wise as you. And would you say that about your ex as well? Because I'm sure many people wouldn't say that about their ex. So I'm kind of just putting that out to you and seeing.
Oh, that's funny. I would, of course, say that now. Yeah, I have. I mean, it's been a fascinating journey. I've been separated from my husband for 12 years, and I think I love him more now than I've ever loved him. We have such an amazing respect for each other as human beings. Yet that wasn't available to me before. I think I always loved him, but there was always a lot of frustration, disappointment, anger going on in my mind. And now when I look at that relationship, when it broke down, it was very much my expectation of how it is that he should be in this relationship, what it is I think he should be saying to me, how it is he should be providing opportunities for me. And I got that all wrong. You know, we don't see our preferences as made up. We're making them up. We're creating them because we can, because we have this power of thought. We bring it into form. And how many times do you feel really passionate about what it is somebody should be doing, and then the next day you don't? Well, that's weird. It was there 1 minute, now it isn't. And you were standing really strong 1 minute, and then the next minute you're not. So it really proves that we have all these expectations of the way in which others should be in a relationship. And that gets in the way. And it takes us off in a completely different direction. And we've stopped seeing and feeling the way we did when we first met. We lose connection to that. It's still there, but we lose touch with it because we then start to feel all of this other noise going on in our head, judging, criticizing, assessing the things they say, the things they do. And we don't see that their behaviors are a product of their state of mind in the moment. We believe at that point that that's them. That's who they are. And boy, I'm going to have to put up with this for the next 40 years. No. It doesn't work that way. A behavior comes from a person's state of mind in the moment, and it's not fixed. It's the way they're feeling in that moment. It's not who they are. And when I started to see that in myself, and then I started to see that in my ex, I had so much more compassion to what it is he was up against. And also for myself, you know, I was up against my thinking, and I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know how experience works. So I thought I was up against him. I thought I was up against all of those quiet times, you know, the non-communication, and whereas actually all I was up against was my thinking about those times. And it changed everything. Absolutely, it changed everything. Because it's never the other person. It's always 100% only ever you're thinking about the other person. No, I'm not condoning poor behaviors, don't get me wrong, because sometimes there are in relationships poor behaviors or behaviors which are not healthy and safe. And I'm not condoning those. But what I am saying is that when you connect with who and what you are as a perfect and whole human being, and you can see your experience being created via this power of thought, you can see that you can have any one of 1,000,000 experiences of it. And that gives you clarity, and it gives you that peace of mind that, okay, well, I might need to change something here in this relationship, or I might not. But you're coming to the situation with psychological freedom. You have a freedom of mind to be really wise in the moment, rather than be completely distracted by all of the noise of the stuff you're making up about the person.
Thanks, Denise. I've got so many more questions for you, but we're pretty much out of time. It's just absolutely flown by, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. If people, well, actually, before we go on to that, very, very quickly, I'd love to know what are you up to nowadays? Because I guess we start off at the start of the podcast talking about kind of what's brought you to where you are, and then we've spoken about relationships, but very quickly, what are you up to nowadays?
I'm just in the middle of writing my first book, actually, called Inspired Performance, The Gateway to Fulfillment in Life and Sport. Hoping to have that out by the beginning of next year. I'd love to continue to work with sports people. I'd love to be able to bring this understanding to the field of elite and professional sport. But also, I'm really aware that there are people suffering, not just in the field of sport. There are people suffering, and especially our youth. So I'm working a lot more with the youth, young people that have been high achievers that have got lost, and I'm working with them to just put them basically just back on track, and to help them to lead their best life, but from a place of peace, and not from a place of needing to be better than who and what you already are.
And if anyone wants to get hold of you and find out more about either that or anything we've spoken about on the show, what's the best way that they can do that?
My email is denise.holland@class-performance.com, and my website is www.class-performance.com.
Thank you very much. If people want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can do that via www.ankushjain.co.uk. That's ANKUSHJAIN.co.uk. And from there, it's probably a gateway into everything that I do, from these podcasts, which are available on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as YouTube. My many things that I do on Facebook, and the various different communities and types of clients that I work with. Thank you very much once again, Denise, for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I will catch the listeners next time with another interviewee. Thanks for listening to the Relationship Series podcast. If you want to hear more, you can click the subscribe button below. You can share this and impact someone else who can benefit, or you can like it and encourage others to listen. Also, it'd be great if you leave me a comment below, as I always love hearing from listeners, and I want to keep creating great content for you. Thanks for listening.